cool. Let me log all that on my phone so I can get us back on track. How's everybody doing this evening? Or morning, I should say, depending on where you at in the world.
Doing great.
Good.
That's cool. That's
Very
good.
good.
That's good. Okay. That way. Thank you. All right. Let me see. All right. Let me see if I could share my screen and get us going. All right. Can y'all see me? Can y'all see my screen? What can y'all see?
We can hear you and we can see your screen with the networking from home.
All right. Cool. Cool beans. All right. So is everybody on the call in the 52 weeks, or do we got people that's not in the 52 weeks, or who am I talking to so I know where we at?
You're in the group.
I'm in the group. It was, baby.
In the group.
All right, that's what's up. All right. And how far are y'all along in the 52 weeks? Are y'all started off with me? Have y'all seen my videos, or did you come in with Mark through Goldfinger? Where y'all at?
Just
I'm still
started
in my
this
first
week.
week.
Yes.
Beginning.
I
Okay.
came in through Goldfinger.
Yeah, I'm in Goldfinger.
Okay, cool. So then it's safe to say that really none of y'all are familiar with who I am and have really seen any of my classes then, right?
I've seen your first two videos.
No, I've been in the class, Sugar.
Okay, cool. All right, then that's what's up. Let's see. Sometimes, the scanner will act funny. Good. All right, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jacqueline Lopez. I am the creator of the Milwaukee Sauce Strategy. It is a strategy that I created for beginners to help you learn how to use the harmonic scanner. I am also the co-creator of the 52 Weeks to Freedom course. Myself, Chad, and Mickey created the course in order to help all of Trade Nation, no matter what team you belong to, no matter what group you belong to, whether you Generation 12, whether you're Retire Rich, whatever group you belong to, whatever set you repping, right? We all Trade Nation. And so in order to make sure that Trade Nation was strong as a whole and make sure that we were developing individuals into traders, because truth be told, that's why we signed up for this educational platform, right? Was to learn how to trade. And since that is in fact the case, we decided that as we grew and there were individuals or teams that were developing successful trading systems and strategies, that those individuals, as they stepped up into leadership roles, that then they would help us educate the rest of you as new individuals came on to help save you some of those bumps in the road so that you don't have to make some of the same mistakes that we made when we first started out. All right, so let me get this out my way so that I can see my screen too. All right, now, the reason that I'm doing the Saturday Night Live classes is because on Saturday nights, right, or sometime when the market is closed, you should be taking a look at your charts, right, studying them to see what has happened already in the market, right? What happened last week, what happened in the past, because we know history repeats itself. And so since that is in fact the case, if we look at what the market has already done, right, with some simple math calculations, right, some strategies, some techniques, things that I teach in the first 12 weeks, right, to help build the foundation so that you will have a strong foundation in order to make sound decisions when you're learning how to trade. so that you can become profitable, right? Now, as you all realize, you've been assigned a study group. And in those study groups, each study group has been assigned a certain number of pairs that we should be taking a look at. And as a team, if we're monitoring those pairs, even if it's not one of the pairs that you've chosen as your personal favorite, if you're helping us monitor those pairs collectively as a team, as a nation, we will be able to monitor all of the Forex pairs, right? And I discuss and teach you about what the main currencies are, as well as what those Forex crosses are. Does anybody know how many pairs we have that we can actually trade in Forex, not including any of the exotics?
28.
28. There are 28 different Forex pairs that you have the potential to be profitable on, right? That you should be able to master, and the goal is to be able to make $100,000 off of one pair before you move on to the next one, right? Or before you start to dive into commodities, metals, indices, crypto, right? Those are more advanced techniques. You want to be able to master a Forex pair. We already know Forex is very volatile in and of itself. And depending on which pair you're studying will determine how volatile those pairs really are. And if you've been actually studying with us, then you already have realized that you've been paired up with some pairs that move faster than others, right? That move in the same direction as each other, that move in opposite directions of each other, depending on the currency rules that I teach in the first 12 weeks, right? So as you can see, as you learn these different topics during each week, they will build upon each other like a series of building blocks, like Legos when we were kids. And so as you develop these skills, you'll start to piece them together. Now, bringing it all back around to my point. When the market is closed, you need to be looking at the market from a top-down approach. Sugar, what do you mean by this? Okay, we know that the market, when we're looking at it, we're looking at price fluctuating over the course of time, right? So we're looking at how much price has moved in any one direction in any one time frame, depending on whichever time frame we're looking at, right? On the weekends, when you're preparing for the next week to come, you need to be looking at what has happened over the past week, which is what we use the ATR for. The ATR is a technique that I teach to show you how you are able to calculate with a simple math equation how many pips each pair typically, I'll say that again, you will be able to calculate how many pips each pair typically will give out in any one direction in the course of a week. What do I mean by this? If we know how many pips EURNZD gives out typically over the course of any given week, and we know which direction the market is moving in, then it is safe to say that we can make a hypothesis which will tell us how many pips that pair is going to move over the course of the week in that direction. All right. Everybody can see my screen, correct? You see EURNZD on TradingView?
Yes.
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 And everybody sees that it's on the weekly chart.
Yes.
And if
Yes.
you notice,
Yes.
I use the Hakanashi candles, right? With the Milwaukee sauce. And what you see is a piece of the sauce, right? Because I'm monitoring it on all time frames. But for the sake of the ATR, what we're doing is we're not even paying attention to the moving averages, okay? So for safety's sake, and just to clear this out your way, so that it's a clear screen, right? Clean, naked chart. All we looking at is price and time, right? Price action over time on a weekly chart. And if you notice, EUR-NZD has some very large candles. If you also notice, here, let me clear this out. This, where I place my vertical line, that is the first week of January 2020. And if you notice, from the first week of January all the way up until the end of March, March 23rd, the week of, that pair climbed, right? That pair actually moved a total, let's see, right? Of how many pips? Does anybody know how many pips that is?
32.
3,255.
Yes. That pair, EUR-NZD, right, moved 3,255 pips from the first week of January until the end of March. And then look what happened. It exhausted itself and brought itself back down. And now look what's starting to happen now, guys. Just by looking at a naked chart, just by looking at my Hakanashi candles, I've already started to assess the market, right? And this is looking like a strong reversal because look at the size of these candles, right? Look at the flat bottoms, right? Strong signs of Hakanashis is flat bottoms for buys, flat tops for sales. See it? We already know what the wicks are representing, right? Pushback in the market from the market makers, right? Collection of orders. All right, now, when you calculating your ATR, right? What we're doing is we're looking at how many pips each week the pair gave out. How do you do that? By calculating the ATR, right? And then calculating what the average is over the course of a series of weeks that we collect. All right, so I'm going to share my ATR. Everybody sees my ATR?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. During my 12 weeks, I was already calculating with the team what the ATR was. And if you notice, we started it at the beginning of the year. Even though the 52 weeks didn't start at the beginning of the year, because we technically started at the beginning of February, right? I still took the liberty to go back and start at the beginning of the year because I needed us to know, right, how many pips each pair was giving out each week, and in which direction was the pair moving in. And then I needed to be able to calculate on average how many pips could I typically forecast that pair to give me so that I would know how to forecast for the week to come, right? And if you notice, the month of January, right? If you take a look, it was already pointed out to us by calculating these numbers that NZD USD gave out the least amount of pips, averaging about 96 pips in a week. And if you notice, it was less than that, then it had some spikes, right? But on average, you were looking at about less than 100 pips. GBPR at that particular time was giving out the most pips per week, averaging about 437. But if you notice, in week 4, by calculating how many pips each pair gave us and in which direction, we could easily see that there was a spike in GBPR, right? It shot up 784 pips. But for the previous weeks, it was only averaging right around less than 400. So something must have happened during that week, right? Same thing with NZD USD. Look at that. It shot up 168 pips. Well, actually, it went down. It shot down 168 pips. But it was averaging less than 100. And the week previous, it only gave out 54 pips. Look at that. US CAD only gave out 35 pips. Think about that. If you would have been taking a signal from any one of the products or any one of the signal groups, and they told you, go for 50 pips, go for 100 pips on UCAD, it's going to give you 100 pips this week. And then it only gave you 35. You're going to be mad as hell. It's just that simple, guys. But if we calculate these things and we're strategic by using the tools that are available to us, then we already can prepare ourselves so that we don't get caught, right, and lose the bag. All right, so check it out. Here's 8 weeks, right? Now look what happened. AUD NZD now became low man, averaging about 100 pips, right? GBPR GA stood strong at 412. But look, it had those 2 big weeks. But then even look at the patterns on the charts, guys. Look at AC, RCAD. From week 1 to week 8, it sold. And while we were calculating it in the current weeks that we were in, if you notice, the next week, the following week, it sold again. Look at how powerful this information is. Look at just the patterns and the numbers. Look at being able to recognize which direction your pair is going in and which direction it typically moves in, right? What if you could be able to say, my pair goes up for 4 months and then it pulls back for 2 months and then it goes up for 4 months, then it pulls back for 2 months. You see what I'm saying? All by calculating a simple math equation and figuring out which direction and how many pips, right? Look at 12 weeks. Now look, what happened? Ding, 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 ding. What happened after February during March to fluctuate the numbers in such a fashion? Look at those numbers. What do you think happened?
The announcement of the global pandemic late March.
Check that out. Right? Because of it, EUR franc now becomes low man at 102 pips, average in a week. And look at it. Right? What about EUR NZD? Check out the numbers. It's now high man on the totem pole at 679. Now I can tell you guys that in the past, the pair that has been typically giving out the most pips has been GBP NZD. But with all of the things that have been changing in the world economy, because that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the global economy. This is macroeconomics, right? We're studying the value of money and how simple decisions, right, impact the value of our currency, right? Now, it's important to make note of these spikes because this is not normal. What we're going through, what we're seeing in the market is not normal, right? Check it out. Let's just see something real quick. All right. Look at this. When was the last time this was here? Look at that. That's here. It hadn't spiked up to that high, right? To that point, 1.99555, right? Which is almost, right, 2 New Zealand dollars for every 1 euro, because that's what we're looking at. 1 euro is equal to 1.99555 New Zealand dollars. If you didn't know, that's what that meant. It had not been to that point since February of 2010. That's 10 years ago. 10th. Right? And look, if you go to it, what happened? Nope. Matter of fact, it was actually January. Check that out. January 4th, the week of 2010, what happened? What happened, guys? What is that?
Yeah, it retested and then went down for a sale.
It broke out. Look. You see it? Look. It held this zone. Look, it was holding it, right? It broke out. Move my arrow. Check it out. It retested. You see the retest?
Yes.
That's one touch. Right? In 2010. This is touch 1. What is this?
Touch 2.
Boom. Right? On a weekly chart. What does the pattern look like? Do you see it? Right? This is easy as what? A head and shoulders possibly. This possibly being the head and shoulders. The shoulder maybe being right in here. Right? And look. What is it doing?
Going back up.
Going back up. Potentially all the way back up to what? Another touch. At least. Because we know it's only done 2.
On a weekly basis.
On a week, this is a weekly chart.
You know what I'm saying? It's gonna go back up week by week. You said, you know what you're saying?
Yeah, look at it. Don't it look like it's going up?
And we're expecting it to hit at least the previous high.
Yeah, she's gonna return.
I mean,
That's
that's a safe analysis, right? I mean, we can't guarantee nothing because we know that there are outside extenuating factors that manipulate the market all the time, which is the reason why we created the 52 weeks, because there are some things that are going to happen that you're going to find that are going to affect you that, like, just be frank, the academy just don't address. Or at least they don't point it out in such a way to make it clear enough so that you know what to expect. Right? Like the ATR, which is one of the things we're going to talk about right now. Does anybody on the call know how to calculate the ATR?
No.
Yes.
No.
No.
What is the
Cool.
ATR?
What is the ATR?
I'm brand new.
Question. It is the average true range. I call it ATR for short. Average true range. And I break it down, go into all detail in one of my classes, right? For the sake of time, I'm not gonna go through all of that, but I'm gonna show y'all how we're gonna calculate and potentially predict what's gonna happen, right? Using it. So, for example, when you calculating the ATR, the first thing you need to do is you need to figure out what is the high and the low for the week that you're calculating, right? So all you simply do is put your cursor on the week that you're trying to calculate, right? And if you notice, it'll tell you the week of August 3rd, 2020. All right, now guys, I'm gonna need somebody to help me. I'm gonna call out the numbers. You write them down. I'm gonna switch my screen over to my calculator. We're gonna calculate them together. All right, now, before I do it, I wanna go back to my ATR because whether you guys know it or not, we should be calculating the ATR at minimum for the pairs for each study group. Now, in the Midwest team, we have an individual who has stepped up, who has taken it upon himself to calculate the ATR for the 5 pairs that the Midwest team is responsible for, right? So each week, we've been going through and calculating. I want to say, does that get me all the way to it? Do I get all the way there? So I've been working on.
Can I get the ATR one more time, please? What it means,
Yes.
the acronym?
Yep, it's the average true range. I can't remember which class exactly I teach it in, but if you go to my playlist and look through my classes, it's in the description and it'll tell you. All right, guys, I left off updating this thing 7/27. All right. And I know that is what, EURNZD? Yeah, EURNZD. Okay, so we're gonna calculate what week are we in now? 8. We in 32. No, we're getting ready to go into 32. Okay, cool. So this is even better. If you notice, look, check out. Look at the pattern on EURNZD. It was buying for 2 weeks, it sold. It bought for 2 weeks, it sold. It bought for 6 weeks, running strong. It sold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. And look, it's back in its original average range, right? It pulled back or pulled up a week. Look, it fell 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. And now it's reversed again and it's pulling up, right? Now we need to know, what did it do this week, right? So that we can prepare for next week. Yeah, because I think, yep, that's the most recent one, 32. Now, hold on, guys. Let me see what I'm going to do. Hope I got something in the chat. Who in the chat? I can't see it. I can't see it. Okay, boom, boom. Who's the leader of the South pair? Actually, to be honest, Sugar, I monitor all the groups. I'm in all of them. All of the educators are. When the educators go live for their 12 weeks, they have access to all of the study groups so that they can monitor and help with any questions we have. If it relates to their strategy, they're able to monitor our homework assignments, because a lot of times we post homework assignments so that we can make sure that we're keeping everybody up to date on what's going on and making sure that everybody's following along correctly. But yeah, so all you need to do really, Sugar, is just start being talkative. Post your questions. You know, anything that post markups so that we can see them and help you through them. And then that's how we help each other. All right, now I'm gonna call out these numbers. Let's see. August 3rd, 2020. That's this week, right? All right, who's ready? I need somebody to volunteer, and you're gonna have to write these numbers down because I'm gonna call them out.
I got it.
All right. The high is 1.79140. The low is 1.75244, and it's blue. If you notice, guys, we keep record of what color the week is so that we know which direction the trend is moving in. Because as you know, the trend is our friend. So we're looking for setups that are moving in the direction that the trend is moving in. Now, I'm not saying that as you advance as a trader, that you won't learn how to trade against the trend and catch in a pullback. But what I am telling you as a newbie, as a beginner, you want to master moving with the trend because it's going to help you be more profitable, consistent. It's going to help you obviously develop your patience and your discipline, and ultimately the confidence that you need to be profitable. All right, so you got my numbers?
I got it.
All right, we're going to pull up my calculator. What's the number?
The high is 1.79140.
140 minus
1.75244.
244 equals 389.6 pips, right? 390 pips is what EURNZD gave out this week. 390 pips. What color was it?
Blue.
390. Blue. Now, let's go back to our charts. Right? Look at these flat bottoms. Right? It's a sign of strong momentum, strong volume. Right? All right, check it out. I switch back over to my Japanese candlesticks just to confirm that it's still moving in that direction, right? And it is, right? It's right at this high, right? So we're looking for it to continue, right? It has to break this high. Then it's going to break this. It's like stepping stones, right? Break this before it goes up, right? But it might do this. It might give you a long exhaustion wick and just collect the orders and then come back down because it doesn't have enough volume to push it through, because this was only the second touch. We know that what? 2 touches gives us the trend. 3 touches gives us what? Continuation, confirmation. And then the 4th touch is our breakout. So we already know that this has got to go at least back up to here And then we know that it's going to push back down because it's not going to have enough momentum to break through.
It's gonna push back there on a weekly basis, like week by week. We can expect it to go back up there.
That's what we're going to be looking for it to do this. Right? Now it depends on how far down it's gonna come. It might only come down to like right up in here. Right? Or it might only come down to right here.
The candles that are showing the fat bottoms, we expect that's strong growth. So we're expecting continued strong growth,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. Right?
Hold on, so the candle, but I just love to see the candle bottoms are not flat. The wicks coming from the bottom of them.
Mm-hmm.
So is that slow growth or is that steady growth?
Well, you know what I'm saying? It just means that it had some resistance. There was some supply and demand that was happening in there, right? Which is one of the other things that I focus on, right? In my system, right, I study three things. I study currency, I study volume, and then I study the sauce, right? Which is the Milwaukee sauce, which is what I put on it, right? So I'll show you what I mean. And this is just something that I would do to try and confirm this. This is on the week, right? And everybody gonna mark this up a little differently, right? We all know that, depending on how you see it, right? It might come down to here. It might come down to here. This might be really the shoulder. You know, we don't know. I said there because look, the market stopped there and then it pushed back up, right? But okay, so this is my VR, guys, right? I teach visual range too, which is a tool that I use to show you how to monitor volume.
Let me ask a question. Being as you're looking at the week by week basis, are you looking to buy in on Monday and not sell till Friday?
I'm saying that knowing what we know, right? Knowing the ATR, know that it's typically giving out about 541 pips, but that's on the high side because of those weeks, right? Where it was doing those spiking. But if you notice, it's basically ranging about anywhere from about 250 to maybe 400 pips, right?
Hey, Sugar, that volume, that's separate from the 52 weeks?
Yep. Yep, I give you that too. That's one of the last things that I'll show you.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. Appreciate your existence.
So for example, I know that it's been pulling up for 3 weeks. Who's on the call? Let me see. I wonder. Now, if y'all haven't noticed, I'm gonna share something with y'all since y'all haven't gone through my classes. When you start studying the pairs that I have assigned to each one of the study groups, you'll notice that some of them are moving in the same direction as others, right? The reason why I did that is so that eventually you will be able to trade multiple pairs at the exact same time by knowing which direction one pair is going in. So for example, the Midwest team studies EUR NZD, it studies GBP NZD, it studies NZD CAD, NZD JPY, and our wild card is AUD NZD. If you notice, I just switched from EUR NZD to GBP NZD. And it almost looks identical, doesn't it? Did you notice the switch? Or did y'all even pay attention?
I didn't even notice that you even switched.
Watch. I'm going to switch. Here's EUR NZD. Here, I'm going to clear it so you ain't got to see all the markups and stuff. Watch what happens. Let me show y'all something. Y'all see how it looks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Watch it.
Very similar.
Right? And it's because I teach you currency strength. I teach you the 4 rules about our currency pairs, right? To show you that if you know, right, which currency is strong, which currency is weak, or if they are similar in strength, then you should know who's winning the currency tug of war, is what I like to refer to it as, right? And so based on this, I already know, right, that check it out. GBP NZD did the exact same thing. It fell all these weeks. It started to consolidate, and now it's spiked up for 2 weeks. Right? Watch what happens when I change it. NZD CAD. It's gonna do the exact opposite. Do you see it? Everybody sees it?
Yes.
Yep.
Right? So just by knowing that, I know that GBP NZD, EUR NZD, right, is looking like it's moving to the upside for this week that's coming up, right? I also know that NZD CAD as well as NZD JPY should be doing the same thing. Yes, it is. Right? And then we have our wild card, AUD NZD. What is it doing? Boom. It's moving up. Right? All right. Now, my VR, right? I refer to it as the VR, right? Because it's like virtual reality. I get to see orders in real time. How many orders is actually in the market, right? Look at that. So I know that right in here, the buyers are winning. There's almost 5 million buyers right here in this zone. But there's only about 3.4 million sellers. Look, the sellers are winning here. That's why it's got resistance. That's why it didn't break through. And that's on odd NZD. So let's just go back to the one we was looking at, EUR NZD. Check it out. The buyers was winning. Look, the sellers started winning, which is the reason why it wicked up here, right? All right. Let's see, what's the Japanese candlesticks look like? Oh, look at them candlesticks. Let me hide my VR ones. I gotta see that.
Did you post that? Did you tag me?
Yeah.
I didn't get the tag.
Check that out.
Oh, you know what? Did you use what I sent you?
I muted them guys. Huh. All right, check it out. So, okay, so it went down. Look. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Right? Large engulfing. Retest. This actually, yeah, it might go back up there and then drop. You might be able to actually put a sell limit up there at that line, 1.78750. And it's probably going to open the market up, pull up, and then pull back down. Only because it's retesting that. It might pull back to here, which is the high, before it continues up, which is what we originally said, ain't it? Which is back to this. Right? Because we're looking at market structure. Right? That's fine. Yeah. Something like that. Right. All right, now check it out. I gotta put everything on it. I gotta be able to see this thing for what it do. I can't just look at it like that, y'all. All right. Now this is the Milwaukee sauce, and this is how I read the market, right? I go through all of that, right? I take a look at all of that so that I could see which direction I think the market is gonna go in, right? And then I'm using the sauce to confirm it. Oh, the sauce even makes it look like that much better. Okay, so then that makes more sense. So check it out. We go based on what we already know, right? That's a doji, right? That's a large engulfing. It broke out. We know that this is a retest. We already talked about all of that. All right, look at this. The sauce, the blue is on top, the blue is on top, but look at this. The red is on top. So that makes me think that this is gonna do a kiss and touch. And then it's possibly, like we said, gonna sell back down to the 50, right? And then push back up for another touch, because we know this is only 2, but this would be 3. And if you notice, it's above the 50. The candles are above the 50. We already know it's gonna push the 50 up. But we still know that MACD is still telling us that the overall trend is still moving down, which is why I think it's still going to pull back to this 50, which is retesting the 50 before it pushes back up to that high again. That's on a weekly basis, guys. That's just a hypothesis, right? So I'm saying that it's possible that next week, it might not even do a whole lot of movement. It might do a real small candle and stay right up in here, up in this zone, moving sideways. You might even see that this starts to flatten out before it actually pulls back and then up, right? Up, pull back, consolidate, up, pull back, created a new high, right? Yeah. That's what it looked like to me, y'all. That's on a weekly basis, right? So let's just go down, mark it down. Look, and what did it do? It's consolidated on this zone. Look at that. It really ain't did much movement. I mean, obviously it moved some pips, but for the most part on a weekly basis, it stayed within that range of about 140 pips moving up and down, up and down. And this is a pullback, so that's a pull up. And the Hakanashis, we know tells us what? The overall. And look at that. Sweet buy. Look at that. Oh, that was beautiful. Oh, that sauce is fire. Look at that. Oh, from the cross, y'all. Jesus.
Yeah, I got to put the sauce back on my phone.
Look at this shit. Oh, sorry, y'all. I hope we ain't got no kids. Oh, Lord. Look at that. 651 pips in 24 days at the cross. And look, the Hakanashis told you it was a pullback. Look, it went up. It pulled back. Look, it even pulled back into the street. But what did that MACD say? It said it was still moving to the upside. And this is on what? A daily chart. That's one trade. Getting an alert back in July, right? And just riding it up. So for like 2 weeks, what is that, 2 weeks? 2-3 weeks? Something like that. Look, but now check it out. What is that? What kind of candle is that?
Doji,
Right. What does the doji tell us?
possible reversal.
Correct. And where is it? On that line that we drew? You see it? It's flatlining. Do you see it? It's just losing momentum. Right? And look, it's pulling back. It's telling you it's going to dip. It's starting to pull. But that don't mean that it's actually going to drop. You see what I'm saying? But think about it. If it was to drop from here back down to the 50, that's 370 pips, right? Down. If it, you know what I'm saying? If you put a sell limit right here at a penny, put in your demo, see if it works. There's the only way you're gonna know. Trial and error. Put it in there and let it drop and pull all the way to the 50. Put a buy limit on the 50 and buy it all the way back up and see what happens. For me, I'm waiting on the crosses. Now, here's 4 hour. Look at the 4 hour. 4 hour cross. And look how many pips it shot up. But look, it's still pulling down. The overall trend, guys, is down. Because it did this big pullback to the 50. Look at that. It hit this area, right, of resistance, pushed it back down, right to the 50. The 50 pushed it back up, right? Here we back at that zone. What is it gonna do? Is it gonna push up, or is it gonna have enough momentum to push through it, right? Okay, so here's two setups. This is what we're looking for. Is it gonna break out of it? Come back to it, and then take off. Right? What is it gonna do? Make it prettier for y'all. All right. All right. Guys, look, trading is nothing more than taking a look at the market and marking up all of the possibilities that the market could potentially do and waiting to see what it's going to actually do. That's it. And using the tools and the resources that we got access to make sure that what we learning, we're applying. That's it. Y'all got any questions?
All right, so Jackie, how do you be sending alarms for the cross?
So I use TradingView to send me my alerts, right? I'll show y'all my alerts, right? I gotta add back my odd NZD, but you know that's my wild card. But if you notice, check it out. I'm looking at the 15-minute and the hour, right? I'm typically looking at the hour and the 4-hour, really. But I get my alerts on the 15-minute and the hour because I know that the smaller time frames are going to set up before the higher time frames. But I monitor the higher time frames because the higher time frames is one, going to give me a longer run, and two, is going to give me more pips, right? And I know that the 4-hour and the day is actually the two trading time frames that the banks and the brokers are actually trading off of. So I'm looking for my setups on the 4-hour, but I'm looking for my entries on the 1-hour and the 15-minute, if that makes sense. All right. Dang, I gave y'all a whole mouthful, I gave y'all a whole lot, didn't I? All right, let's check it out. So when you setting up your alerts, right, you want your 3 and your 10 to cross. Because we looking for the red and the blue to cross. We looking for the red to be on top to indicate a sell. We looking for the blue to be on top to indicate a buy. Super simple, guys. Blue on top buy, red on top sell. That's it. We looking for the 50, which is our goal line, to confirm the trend. If the 50 is below the candles, it's going to push it up. If the 50 is above the candles, it's going to push it down, right? We're using the RSI so that we can actually see where our consolidation is, and we know we don't play in the street. And the MACD is confirming our overall trend. Now, I'm looking for the first step in the sauce, which is the cross. And we know that the cross is everything. So once I get an alert saying that that 3 and that 10 has crossed, I'm looking to see which direction. Is blue on top or is red on top? Right? I want to know when it crosses once the candle closes. I don't want to get an alert every time they're crossing within the candle. It'll drive you nuts. Believe me, it's going to drive you nuts. You don't want to have all those alerts going on, right? And you're going to miss something because you're going to have so many alerts going on. You're like, man, that ain't nothing. I ain't looking at that alert. And that's going to be the one you're supposed to look at. So just narrow it down, clean it up, right? What you want to do is you're looking for the 3 and the 10 to cross. You want it to actually cross when the candle closes, which is confirming the direction of the cross, right? And then as you can see, it lets you know that it can be open-ended, so it don't have a limit on the time frame, but then obviously you got to upgrade to get all those extra features, right? Otherwise, it's just going to give you a limited time. You max out the time, and when it actually comes to an end, you just start it over. And then it gives you a default of a message, and it just tells you what you actually programmed in, that you want your EMA to cross your MA, right, on EN on the 4-hour with your Heikin-Ashi candles. Now, that all looks great for technical terms, right? But for the sake of what I'm doing, and I need this thing to be simple, I need to be able to look at it, I need to be able to see the alert, get the alert, and be able to switch from that alert to my trading platform and be able to enter the trade quickly, especially if the market is moving the way I want it to and all of my things have aligned correctly, the stars have aligned, baby, it's market execution and we all in. That being said, if you notice, my messages are different. I need to know if blue is on top, I'm going to buy. If red is on top, I'm going to sell. And that's what I'm looking for. If you notice, you're just looking at your alerts. Okay, let's see how this alert did. So look, check it out. This on the 15-minute chart. Look how clean that was. Vertical line, boom, boom, boom. Where did the cross happen? The original cross happened here. Beautiful. All right. And it climbed all the way to there. And look, and this is a cross right there. Boom. Check it out. So look, it bought, it broke it, it pulled back, retested it. Look, it pulled back, and now it's pushing back up. For me, if I was looking at this, I would be waiting for that MACD to confirm that it's actually moving to the upside before I jumped in. Because what this might be, guys, what might this be? Does anybody see it? Do you see it?
Head and shoulders.
Oh, watch. It ain't do it. Here, do it this way. No, I don't want a vertical. Here. You see it? Yeah, I don't see it.
Oh, the second leg of the M.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
gonna be an M and then it come back as a W, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Right? Do y'all see that?
Yep.
That's what
Yeah.
I saw. Right? But check it out. If that's the case, right, it's gonna sell. It's gonna at least sell back down to this 50, and it's on the 15-minute chart. So what I'm saying is on EURNZD, you could potentially be looking for a sale to at least go down, what, 45 pips down to the 50, completing the second leg of the M. Right?
Mm.
Let's verify it. Harmonic scanner. EURNZD. Where is it? Give me a lot of them. Let's see who goes way. Oh, see. Who goes way. 15 minutes. EURNZD. It's not on the 15 minute? No. It's on the 30 minute. EURNZD. There it is. It's a cipher. Oh, that's beautiful. It's a cipher on the 30 minute. Anybody knows what the cipher is? It's a cipher on the hour. Oh, Lord.
No, what is that?
The cipher pattern. The cipher pattern. Anybody knows? I got one no. All right, check it out.
I don't.
Everybody know what head and shoulders is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Cipher is another technical term for the harmonic pattern that creates the head and shoulders.
Oh,
right.
okay.
So check it out. I'm gonna give you
I
some
see it now.
game. Right?
The shoulder coming down.
You see it?
Yep.
So when it comes to the cipher pattern, here's a ding 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 nugget. Right? When you studying it on the harmonic scanner, you're gonna always want to first look for where is the D when you read in the scanner. I'm flipping hats, y'all. I'm gonna give y'all some game on how to use the scanner. You first recognize where is the D. The D is gonna tell you where you're gonna enter. The harmonic scanner is the simplest tool that they could have came up with. If you know your colors and your ABCs and you know your numbers, you know how to copy and paste, you can be profitable. If you recognize where the D is going to tell you where you enter. If the D is on the bottom, you buy. If the D is on the top, you sell. Now, here's a nugget. When there is a cipher pattern, because the cipher pattern, the D, is going to create the left leg of the right shoulder. I'm going to say it again. The D trade is going to create the left leg of the right shoulder. So, in this example, if the D is on the bottom, I buy up, creating the left side of the right shoulder. Once I have reached the top, right? The neckline of the shoulder. Right? What now happens? If you follow on right, like I follow on right,
There you
then
sell.
you know that you sell the right shoulder. Boom, 2 trades, possibly 6 trades in one. This is technically giving you 2. D to TP1, D to TP2, actually past TP2, creating the neckline, and then selling back down, which should give you 100%, right? Possibly all the way down here, like that. Y'all see that?
Yes.
And it's the exact opposite if you were to flip it and do inverted. So guys, now you can see why I start off the first 12 weeks, because I have to show you and help you build the foundation that you need by using the harmonic scanner, because like I like to refer to it as our training wheels to trading. It's going to teach you everything that you need to know. It teaches you trend lines, it teaches you support and resistance, it teaches you supply and demand, it teaches you where to get in, it teaches you where to get out, it teaches you risk management, right? The one thing for me that it did not do was it didn't tell me when to perfect my entry. It told me where to enter, but not when to enter. Because you'll find out that there are going to be many times where your analysis is going to be spot on. Your entry is going to be a perfect entry, but you're going to enter too early or you're going to enter too late. It's a timing issue. This thing is price, right? And time and volume. All 3 have to go together. You have to be able to understand them in order to become a master trader. And the benefit of the scanner is, guys, technically you don't have to pay for TradingView, because if you notice, it is populating all of the information from TradingView, and it's giving you different brokers than what you have on TradingView. And these are typically some of the brokers that you're going to be using, not the ones that are shared on TradingView. Right? And you have access to adding all these different indicators without having to have more than a free version, because with the free version, you can only have 3 indicators. Now, I will tell you that there are some indicators that are on TradingView, like my VR, right? You're not going to find on the scanner, right? You're just not going to find that. So if you want to use those kinds of tools, those extra trading tools as you develop as a trader, then I would suggest that you invest in yourself and get a Pro Plus at least subscription to TradingView. But until you decide that trading is what you want to do and you want to invest in becoming a master trader, then utilize the tools and the resources that you're already paying for and start making your money off of this. All right, guys, we rate about 12:30. Y'all got any questions for me? Like I said, I'm hoping that I at least gave you some value to start looking at how you should be assessing the charts top down from a weekly basis as you're looking for setups on your pairs. and then being able to utilize the scanner to confirm what you're looking at and what you're seeing. And then, you know, obviously using whatever other tools that you have, Levels, DeLorean, and all of these others, obviously, that we have, obviously, access to. But even if you're taking signals, guys, do the analysis so that you learn and understand why that educator gave you the signal. Don't just take it on face value and then be mad because you don't understand why it wasn't a successful trade. Okay, that would be my biggest nugget. Okay, all right, y'all got anything else for me?
Thank you.
No, I'm good
All
for now.
right.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. I will be starting to do some classes solely on the harmonic scanner. So I'll be dropping a flyer in the groups regarding that as well, just so that everybody that's coming in new doesn't get left behind and you still get live interaction with me as we go through some of the techniques that I teach you in the first 12 weeks. All right, good night, sugar. I love you all, and I can't wait to see where you all gonna be at the end of y'all 52 weeks. See y'all tomorrow.
All right, good
Yes.
night.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.